I am your host, William Grant. I have been running a solar company here in Peoria for 6 years, and we have helped thousands of people go solar. I've been in the industry for going on 12 years now.
My name is Austin Baer. I'm your co-host here at the Solar Power Hour. I'm your local solar consultant here from Peoria. I've been in this industry for going on about 5 years. I've had the pleasure of helping a little over 400 families go solar here in the local community.
Welcome to the 20th episode of the Solar Power Hour. Your host, William Grant, with some very, very special guests in a very, very special place. We are here at the Riverfront Museum with Mr. John Morris and Renae Kerrigan.
Hi, William.
Hello,
William,
hello.
it's an honor to be with you. Happy 20th episode.
It's been a long time in the making. I'm surprised we've gotten this far, but people seem to be entertained a little bit, and then obviously education and information first. So it's been fun.
You were a great host.
I don't know about all that, John. I'm sitting next to a legend or two legends. So Renae here, you do most of the work at the planetarium. You are the planetarium, eat, sleep, and breathe the stars. We love that.
That's right. Yeah, I'm the planetarium director at the Peoria Riverfront Museum, and grateful to be in that post. But yes, I do have great help in the planetarium. My coworker Nick Ray has been helping steer the ship for many, many years, and then we have some other presenters as well. And we're so grateful to have Sun Collectors as sponsors of our planetarium programming,
Absolutely.
helping bring astronomy content to everyone in Central Illinois.
Yeah, that's the goal. The more the merrier. What about you, John? Anything new with the museum?
Well, first of all, Sun Collectors is the most important corporate sponsor we've ever had for the annual operations of this state-of-the-art planetarium. Renae just talking about it. So we're very grateful to you and the Sun Collectors for 2 years in a row now. You've stepped up to be the major sponsor. 50,000 people a year come through that planetarium, gaze up at the stars on the 40-foot dome screen. And it's really one of the most popular things about this museum, which is the only multidisciplinary museum of its kind in the nation. Art, science, history, achievement, a clock that rings
that
on the
always
hour
goes
you
off.
can hear in the background. Planetarium, largest film study screen in the country. It's a special place, and you are a part of it, William. We love you and love having you involved.
Yeah, love being a part of the museum. Education is something that's one of our core values and fundamentals of our company. And beyond that, the museum and what you bring to the children, the initiative to get every single child here. And you said something, I don't know if everybody heard it with the clock going off, but this is a one-of-a-kind museum in the entire country. And obviously, we're very proud to support that. So congratulations. I know it's been a long time in the making for you guys to get to that level, but you have a wonderful board, wonderful staff, and a wonderful place for people to learn and enjoy the arts and science and history and the planetarium.
Exactly. Well, and we have you, William. We have you and your team, and what a perfect, aptly named business to be the chief sponsor of our planetarium, Sun Collectors, where
Absolutely.
the sun. Maybe Renae can comment on how the planetarium is actually also the sun in its shape and its form. Say a word
Sure.
about that.
We are home to the world's largest, most complete solar system model, scale model of the solar system right here in Central Illinois. So this was created by my predecessor, Sheldon Schaefer, who was the planetarium director for 38 years. And he had this wonderful idea to make the planetarium be the center of a scale model of the solar system. So our planetarium dome is the sun in our solar system model, about 40 feet in diameter. And then throughout Central Illinois, we have the planets spaced out away from the planetarium, and then the correct size and the correct distance in that scale model. So you can take a walk along Peoria's riverfront, which you can see behind us in the video here, and go from our sun here at the museum. We also have a depiction of it on our plaza right outside the doors. You can walk on the riverfront trail to Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. Earth is about 1 mile away from the museum, and it's about 5 inches around. If the sun is 40 inches or 40 feet in diameter, Earth is about 5 inches around. You could hold it in your hand, and about 1 mile away from the museum. And every year we do an interplanetary 5K race where you run to the orbit of Mars and back. So it's a
Okay.
3-mile race, but you run to the orbit of Mars and back.
How fast are you running?
Faster than the speed of light. You're running very, very fast if you run to Mars and back in about 30 minutes or so.
I
Yeah.
love it. All the scalability and the
Yeah.
reference points.
William,
That's awesome.
what do you like about the Peoria Riverfront Museum?
That always is changing. You hear a lot of people in the community that go to the Riverfront Museum maybe once a year or twice a year. But honestly, that's not enough. And every time I see someone, oh, it's been like 2 or 3 years, like you got to get down there. There's something changing every single almost month, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
And there's always events, there's always new things at the planetarium, theater. It's just a beautiful place to be and to come and enjoy. And also the people. Like everybody I meet through the Visionary Council Society, all of your staff, everyone here today, they're just surrounded by amazing people
They're
in
great
Central
people,
Illinois.
very generous people.
Mhm.
We're first and foremost a philanthropic organization, so we really are a tool for people who with giving hearts
Mm.
and capacity, whether it's a basic membership or 100 grand a year. People give generously to help us bring 18,000 school children a year
Mm.
for free into the museum. We have 150,000 visitor experiences in person a year. And recently, programs like what you're doing with digital here, we have our own programs, hundreds of YouTube videos now we've made on various subjects. Renae did a live stream back in 2020, which was when we first really got the hint of how powerful this could be, where it was something called the Great Conjunction. Saturn and Jupiter lined up in the night sky as if they were a single star to the naked eye. It was that
Oh, wow.
close. And it was December 20th, right?
December 20th,
Yeah,
2020. Yes.
2020. And she took out her iPhone and she put that with a little fixture on it, put it on the telescope, and got Saturn and Jupiter in the lens of the telescope. So, to the folks at home watching our live stream on Facebook, they started sharing and liking and sharing and sharing. Before she knew it, she had 84,000
Yes.
viewers from around the
Yeah.
world looking at through her iPhone on her telescope right out here on the plaza by the planetarium. And so we realized that while we are Peoria and we're here amidst the rich farm ground of central Illinois and more of a rural surroundings, we have the capacity to tell stories that inspire people all over the world. And so, just a couple of weeks ago, Dr. Robert Ballard was in town.
Oh, well.
Ballard discovered the Titanic
Mhm.
40 years ago this year. And we recorded an interview with Dr. Ballard,
Mhm.
and it's already achieved more than 16,000 views in the first 2 weeks that we put it up on YouTube. So the Peoria Riverfront Museum really is becoming a national provider of inspirational content,
I love that.
not only for people who visit here, but for people who are using us all over the place. So
Isn't it amazing what you can do when you use social media the right way and try to promote education and finally get people to start listening and learning? That's a big idea of why we started the podcast. There's so much that goes into solar and it's such a complex thing, but people try to oversimplify it. We just want to get the real information to people's, and we have people that watch us from all around the country who then can use the information we're providing to make a decision for a provider for solar in that state. So
yeah.
that's a big thing for us, just to make sure that you're going with the right company and the right people.
So we don't have the expertise you do on your product and so forth, but there's so much science in it that here at the nonprofit museum, we're grateful for your support. But it's also interesting to us because of the science that goes into what you do for solar.
Mhm.
How's it going? You're harnessing the power of the sun.
Absolutely.
Which is a remarkable thing you do.
Absolutely. Yeah. And solar itself is pretty old. It's pre 1970s as far as the concepts and actual like photovoltaic panels. One of the things I ran into when I first got into the solar industry is coming from an electrical engineering background. I was over explaining how solar works to a degree that no one cared about and a home when you're trying to make a decision on like buying solar or not. But yeah, it is a fascinating technology and it is ever improving. And just of this last year, with the net metering program changing, we've had to install a lot of batteries. So, iron phosphate batteries, and back in the day, lithium ion was the big
Yeah.
thing. Lithium ion, the big problem, and you've seen videos online of like tablets blowing up or, laptops or phones just catching on fire and not stopping. Well, with the battery technology, the iron phosphate is extremely more safer.
Mhm.
We're constantly trying to evolve with the industry. And the materials we use today are different than the materials we used 6 years ago. And that's not to say that what we're using 6 years ago is obsolete or it doesn't work, but we just want to make sure that we're always providing the best for people.
Mm,
Yep.
that's very interesting. What percentage of America's households are on solar?
It was up until this last year projected to be exponential, and it has been kind of like the same model you see for the computer chips and the processing power for those. It has been an exponential increase. I wish I would have had that number ready for you, but millions and millions and millions of
Yeah,
people have
yeah,
gone
certainly
solar.
growing, but yeah,
And this last year, it was the most amount of power put on by any power source. So we put more solar on the electrical grid last year than any other power source.
wow.
Yep, and it's still projected to do very, very well. There's still a lot of space for it on the commercial and agricultural aspects. It's just changing a little bit for people's return on investment that don't have a solar incentive in their state. Luckily, we still live in Illinois. They're still incentivizing it, but with the federal tax credit ending at the end of this year, it is a challenge for a lot of different states. And the concern becomes what happens to those solar companies when they can't provide new business? Do they have a plan to service all the clients they installed? Like that's how solar gets a bad rap is when these companies come in, go out of business, and then they don't have anybody to service it that specializes in that because this is very, specialized.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no question. Well, at the museum, of course, we don't have a particular expertise in your field of business, but we do have a particular expertise in gratitude. And we're grateful for you having a successful business and for you philanthropically supporting what we do here at the museum. It's an honor to know you, William. And anything else before we switch out with my colleague? I think we're going to bring another colleague in here shortly. But anything else from me?
Just anything new with the museum? Anything you want to plug with the museum? Anything exciting coming up besides
Else,
all of it?
the most exciting thing. So it's hard for people to contemplate it right now, but America's semi-quincentennial
Hmm.
birthday, half of 500 is what semi-quincentennial, America 250 is
Hmm.
coming in 2026. And from auto dealerships to retail chains to everybody and their brother is going to be putting that 250 mark on and it will Americans, we love to celebrate.
Absolutely.
We celebrate sometimes for reasons we don't even know. We just love to celebrate
Mm.
sports championships. We have a parade. We have cookout on days for the I think 17 federal holidays now.
Mhm.
We celebrate. So
Absolutely.
America 250 is going to be celebrated, is going to be observed in many different ways. No better museum in the country than the Peoria Riverfront Museum. We are rolling out all the stops. We're bringing 100 documents, authentic documents to America's history and the promise of liberty from the Declaration of Independence, 1776 broadside all the way up to Martin Luther King Jr.'s March on Washington, 1963, the speech, the mimeograph of the speech. Only a handful still exist, and so I think we're going to give our young people and old people alike,
Mhm.
our families, an opportunity to come to observe America's semi-quincentennial. But that is not all we're doing. We're
Mhm.
doing an exhibition called Joyful Resistance. We're doing an exhibition Renae Kerrigan's curating on transportation. I'll let her talk about it. And we're finishing up the 2026 year with the first of its kind exhibition commemorating the attacks on American on 9/11. So sort of the price of liberty.
Right.
And it's the 25th anniversary this coming year.
Mhm.
40% of America's population was not old enough or not born to have conscious recollection of the events of 9/11. And we as a museum are duty bound, we think, to help tell these stories of our past. So
Yeah, we have to know the history, and that's beautiful. So when is it going to start? When is this exhibition going to start for the America 250?
yeah, well, we're going to get the party started even earlier than the year. Joyful Resistance, a
Okay.
phenomenal collection of fine art curated by Everly Davis,
Hmm.
coming out of some of America's greatest Black culture, black artists and so forth, really coming at it from a perspective that Peoria and most folks in the nation have never seen an exhibition quite like this. Joyful Resistance will be a phenomenal exhibition. Then January 31, the Promise of Liberty, the flagship exhibition opens. That's the 100+ documents
Hmm.
and art and objects, and the party just keeps going. So Renee, talk about your transportation exhibition.
Sure. In the fall of 2026, we'll be opening an exhibition about American transportation technology and how we've had these huge leaps forward in transformation technology. Think about when American settlers first started to move from the east coast into the continent. You know, they were moving on foot, or the first highway system, which was the rivers. So how slow it was that we were able to traverse the terrain. And then when we advanced in technology, American life changed dramatically. So uh, a technology advancement being, you know, a covered wagon and oxen, moving from that to a railroad, and
Good.
how much differently that caused American life to be, and how quick that transformation can percolate through the nation. So we have an exhibition that will be exploring those technologies from uh, covered wagons to rocket ships, all the way that transformation or transportation has transformed American life. So I'm excited about that. And I do actually have secured for the exhibition so far a covered wagon and a rocket engine. So
That's
that'll
awesome.
be
From covered wagons to rocket engines.
Right.
Well, you think about transportation and how it aligns with freedom. I remember growing up as
yeah,
a child,
absolutely.
and my parents and grandparents talking to me about the Soviet Union, which
Mm,
was sort of the opposite of freedom, this totalitarian,
right.
restrictive regime. And one of the things that they would explain to me as a child about why the Soviet Union was not free was that you couldn't go any place you wanted to go.
Hmm.
Like in the United States, you could go across our state borders,
Hmm.
you could go from city to city, coast to coast. But
Absolutely.
within the Soviet Union, within the nation state of the Soviet Union, you did not have the ability to of transportation. So transportation is aligned with freedom.
And
Hmm.
John, it's also personal freedoms. So a
Hmm.
big story about transportation and its evolution and how it affected American life is personal freedom. So the bicycle gave women the ability to travel greater distances by themselves, and gave them a sense of personal freedom in
Yeah,
a time where their
yeah.
lives were often much more
Restricted to
restricted
rural.
to
Yeah,
traveling with a man,
Hmm.
to uh, and not just women, but other minorities have been able to use new types of transportation technology to achieve greater senses of personal freedom, not just the types of freedoms you were expressing
yeah.
from
Sort of a
movement from
political.
place to place.
Yeah. So, and I think that's very very pertinent. I think that
Mm.
the idea of transportation being a tool of individual empowerment and
Yes.
individual freedom is really systemically why we look at the automobile. It was invented in Germany,
Mm.
uh, but took off in the United States like nowhere else. And
Mm.
part of that, I think, is it aligned with individual. You can go fast or slow, left or right, get on Route 66. You can stop wherever you
Mhm.
want. And so transportation is likely to continue to be a defining characteristic within free societies, both in the United States and other places in the world. So um, this could be a good time to contemplate
Mm.
uh, the sort of the benefits of freedom
Mhm.
and individual liberty, and also the challenges that our country has had uh, to become a more perfect union, because we're not perfect, to
Oh,
become a more
absolutely.
perfect union. So Renee's work on this, Everly Davis's work on joyful resistance, Zach Zetterberg and Seth Kaller, our special advisor for rare documents, and Ken Burns,
Yeah.
the documentary filmmaker who has lent his name and expertise
Mhm.
to the exhibition, The Promise of Liberty. It's going to be quite a year,
That's
really
awesome.
is.
So it's safe to say this can be the biggest event the Peoria Riverfront's ever done for the
Yeah,
museum.
I mean, all around, there's nothing close in terms of our
Mhm.
total investments. $2.5 million
Wow.
in these exhibitions. Our goal is to get 25,000 new students beyond the ESI students, 18,000. And we've got some announcements coming up about how this exhibition is not just going to be for the greater Peoria area.
Mhm.
This exhibition is going to be a statewide and Midwest draw. And have we ever done that before? Yes, we have.
Yep.
We've seen people just last year with the Jim Henson exhibition coming from
Mhm.
West Virginia and Dallas and Maryland and high and low and waiting 4 hours in line. And I don't know whether people wait 4 hours in line to see the Declaration of Independence, but they should. This will be a once in a lifetime opportunity to see all these documents in one
Absolutely.
place. So anyway, thank you, William, for all you do.
Absolutely,
Honor to
John.
be on your program. And I'll trade off now with the Chief Gratitude Expression Officer, our Vice President for Development, Anne Marie Miller. But thank you, William.
Absolutely. John, good to see you
You
as
too.
always.
It's a pleasure. Keep up the good
Enjoy the
work.
rest of your day, my friend.
Thank you.
Welcome, Anne Marie Miller,
Yeah,
extraordinaire on gratitude, as John introduced you.
absolutely. That is my primary function.
Is it really?
It is.
Awesome.
I'm vice president for development, but I really am the chief gratitude officer. So
Okay.
I get the joy of working with all of our wonderful donors.
Yeah. And you've always been amazing to us at Sun Collectors and very supportive of the team. And every time we come in for an event asking for a ticket the last day, we always get hooked up.
Always.
So yeah, ladies, what do you want to talk about now that John's gone? We have a little bit of freedom
Yeah.
to speak about anything we want.
Well, I think you better lead the way.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell us what can we chat about that? How does the Peoria Riverfront Museum and Sun Collectors fit together?
Biggest thing would be community involvement. You guys are very community facing as a 501c3, and most of the income for the museum is done through philanthropy, and that's a huge part of our core values and what we do, give
Yeah.
back. And it's just giving back to the community through education and through information. And talking about the 250, we can keep down that track if we want, because the America 250 is going to be a great expression of what freedoms we do have. And obviously, like John said, we're not a perfect union, but there's so many things that we take for granted that are our freedoms that a lot of people around the world still don't have. So it is going to be an amazing
Yeah.
expression of what America truly is, and for the good, the bad, and the ugly. And that's another thing, just honesty is something the museum brings to the table.
Talking about freedom and giving, America is one of the most generous countries in the world, if not the most generous, when it comes to charity and kind of that personal responsibility feeling for kind of taking care of each other. And that's what we really love seeing here at the museum. And I know, like John mentioned, we are primarily funded through private donations. And so, liberty comes with great freedom, and it also sometimes comes with responsibilities. And so, by not just relying on your government to take care of you, we have this great culture in our country of really looking out for each other's neighbor, and
Yeah.
by providing that support. And I think that's a wonderful tradition that we have in America that you don't necessarily see across the world.
So
Yeah.
I think Peoria got named one of the most philanthropic, or if not the
Mhm.
most philanthropic city in the country.
Yeah, we are extremely blessed. People in this community always step up and help each other out, and it really shows, I think, in what we've been able to build here. Over the course of different iterations of corporate structures, all the way back to the whiskey barons and the great distilling, through the rise of manufacturing and Caterpillar, and now with healthcare and other technology like Sun Collectors. Through all those changes, the one constant has definitely, I think, been um, this sense of responsibility and taking care of each other and building this confidence and growing our community.
I couldn't agree more, especially in Peoria. Like whenever you're going out to these events and these fundraisers, it kind of shows who's who actually cares, who's going to be a part of the
Mhm.
community, and it's very much so a one-person disconnected community. You never know who you're standing next to, but I guarantee they know somebody you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
I always say we're like the smallest, bigger city in the country. It's a very small town feeling here.
But and for all of that, we are lucky in Peoria to have such a great. We are a smaller town, but we have such a great community of
Mhm.
givers and people who are trying to take care of Peoria, and we have great cultural attractions here
Mhm.
in the city of Peoria that I know that Sun Collectors supports more than just the Peoria Riverfront Museum, but supports our museum, which is perhaps like the center of the cultural scene in Peoria. I've heard from others. I don't just think myself. But of course, we
Yeah.
also have a great symphony. We have a
Mhm.
wonderful community theater, 2 different community theater
Mhm.
groups that do great things here in Peoria. We have a lot of music that happens in Peoria at the different restaurants and places to go out in the evenings. So yeah, there's just so much to do in Peoria, and not to mention one of the best park districts
Mhm.
in the country. For the city of our size, there's so much
Yeah.
natural space that you can enjoy in Peoria. So we have a lot of great things going for us, and it is lovely to see the community supporting and making better
Mhm.
all of these things that make Peoria great.
And I think there's been a huge expansion. And even 6 years ago when we got here, just in young entrepreneurs and then just new business moving in, different charities,
Yeah.
rising, and really just trying to fit the need of all the people around the community. It's
Yeah.
been beautiful to see the downtown district and beyond that just build up and make the best out of what we have here. So it's cool to see that a lot of people are still struggling after COVID and
Mhm.
communities are struggling, but I think Peoria is getting to a point where we truly are thriving.
Yep.
Yeah, I would
I
agree with
think
that.
so.
Another thing, talking about the philanthropy of these bigger businesses like Caterpillar, OSF, and just all these massive corporations that have been around for 25 years, 10, 15 years. One of the things that saddens me across my industry is you don't see a ton of philanthropy through the solar industry, which is unfortunate. There's a couple of big charities that send money, and we do some of that to like
Oh.
Africa and
Yeah.
we have a little bit of a noise.
Yeah.
Well, the museum is open,
Yes.
and
We're gonna run into
so we have right now some exhibition work that's
Yeah.
happening, and so got a little bit of noise from our scissor
Yeah.
lift
Yeah.
and our freight elevator
Yeah.
here.
what's going
You know,
on in the main exhibition room over there.
So we have John mentioned the bringing Dr. Ballard
Mhm.
here. Our special exhibition we have right now is called Finding Titanic: The Secret Mission. Anne Marie is a huge Titanic history buff, so this was
Yes.
one that she helped us secure. I wasn't. I admit that I wasn't super excited about it until I learned about Dr. Bob Ballard and his career, and now I'm a big fangirl. But Anne Marie, tell us about Finding Titanic.
Yeah. I think one of the most fun things about this exhibit is, you've seen lots of different Titanic focused exhibits around all over the country for a long time. This one is really unique in that it's all about how Dr. Ballard found the Titanic. And the really cool thing about it is it was classified information up until like a couple of years ago.
Oh
The
wow.
real story behind how he found it. He wasn't actually looking for the Titanic. The Titanic was a cover story. He was a naval intelligence officer working for the Navy and the government to go find these 2 nuclear submarines that had sunk back in the
Right.
1960s and to, check on the payloads and all of the materials down there and how they were reacting to salt water after being down there for so many years. And he had this whole other mission. But you have to remember this is 1985
Right.
and the height of the Cold War. And so to keep the Soviet Union from knowing where these submersibles were, uh, his cover story was that he was going to find the Titanic because they knew it was in the same general vicinity as where the Titanic went down.
Did he find
So
the submarine?
he
He
did.
did.
So he made a deal with the Navy. He basically said, okay, I'll go complete all these objectives. But anytime I have left in this 12-day mission, I want to actually go look for the Titanic.
And
And
he
he did it with
says
5 days left. Yeah.
he says that he wasn't supposed to find it,
Yeah.
that his French colleagues from the French Ocean Research Institute were supposed to find it, and then that he would use his camera to document the wreck. And I half believe him,
Yeah.
but I also think that he really wanted to find
Yes.
it. And then the French team, they weren't able to find it using their sonar, and he really really brilliantly devised a way to find it using this technology that wasn't intended to be a survey
Mhm.
technology. And you get to learn all about that in the
Yep.
exhibition. But it was so cool to get to hear from Dr. Ballard
Yeah.
himself about this time in his life, about all the, and then seeing all the really amazing work he's doing now today
Mhm.
on his research vessel.
Yeah. Yeah, he's 83 and he is still hard at work.
He takes these has a research vessel that he has these submersibles that you can watch a live feed from, and they're going into the deep ocean and seeing all these strange sea creatures and hydrothermal vents and shipwrecks, and you can kind of feel like you're on the boat with him, like you can follow along
Mhm.
on his website. So he wants everyone to be an explorer. He wants every child to know that they can do this type
Mhm.
of exploration and science if they're inspired
Yeah.
to. And so that's, you can explore that in the exhibition as well.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Has he found anything else of notoriety? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot.
Yes. He has found over 100 shipwrecks. If
Oh,
you're
wow.
familiar with like World War One or World War Two history, the Lusitania,
Mhm.
The
the
Bismarck.
Bismarck,
Oh,
the
wow.
USS Yorktown, the
Wow.
only aircraft carriers we lost during World War Two.
What an amazing life.
He spent all last summer documenting the wrecks of the Battle of Guadalcanal off the outside the Solomon Islands. That was how he spent his summer a few months ago.
And not just
So
shipwrecks, but also,
uh,
he's
marine
mapping the
life, yeah.
ocean floor. So he wants us to have a good map of the ocean floor. So he has these robots that are being used to map the ocean floor. And then, these hydrothermal
Hmm.
vent areas and reefs, coral reefs. So all sorts of types of marine life as
Hmm.
well. So
Yeah.
it's really, really remarkable work that he is still doing at 83 years old.
Yep.
He shows no signs of slowing
No.
down anytime soon.
That's super cool. Because I mean, it's very unexplored, the ocean, and it's fascinating to think that you could find that many
Yeah.
shipwrecks with such a vast, undiscovered location, like all the oceans that we have.
Yeah, I know he mentioned while he was here, he's like, we have better maps of Mars than we do of the ocean floor.
Believe it.
So that's kind of been his life's work to
Yeah.
really try to document and just find as much as we can out about, the planet we are on currently.
So if this sounds interesting to your viewers, your
Yep.
listeners, I hope you'll come visit us here at the Peoria Riverfront Museum. This Finding Titanic, the Secret Mission exhibition presented by SEPCU, will be on display through January 4th
Mhm.
of 2026. So you
Yeah.
have
Wow.
all fall and the beginning part of the winter to come see it.
Very amazing. So it's more so what he's done and his equipment that he used, because correct me if I'm wrong, nothing's been drugged off of the Titanic, right?
Well, it has,
Oh, there
but
has.
not by
But
him.
Not by
not by
him.
Dr.
Yeah,
Okay.
not by
Ballard.
him. There's another company that actually got the salvage rights because he is very
Mhm.
um of the belief that it's a grave site,
Mhm.
and so we should just kind of let it be. There isn't a lot of scientific knowledge to be gleaned from,
Right.
pulling up a lot of those artifacts.
Mhm.
So he has not done that, but there are some original artifacts from the Titanic in this exhibit
Wow.
that were either taken off the ship directly or were found like floating in the wreckage later. There's a deck chair actually that was
Okay.
found by one of the recovery ships that was
Oh,
sent out right after, and some other artifacts directly related to the ship.
I'm excited for it. I really hate that I missed him speaking. Is he going to be coming back during the year or?
Not at this time, but we do have videos on YouTube of
Okay.
his
Of
time here,
recorded
so
time, yeah.
you can go watch them
Yeah.
and listen to him directly talk about his story.
Good stuff. Anything happening with the planetarium, Renee?
Well, we have an planetarium show that we made to tie into this secret mission exhibition, because one of the things that Dr. Ballard did in the early part of his career was he helped discover hydrothermal vents, which are the areas in the deep ocean that are there's a chemical reaction happening on them, and they're releasing heat from the Earth's mantle
Mhm.
into the ocean. And we didn't, first of all, know they existed, but before 1977. But we also didn't think that life would exist in the deep parts of the ocean where there's no sunlight.
Mhm.
And yet, when we found these hydrothermal vents, found all sorts of unique creatures that can exist off of the chemical reactions that are taking place around them. So that's in our oceans, which we know are abundant with life. Well, there are two moons in particular in the solar system, Europa, which orbits Jupiter, and Enceladus, which orbits Saturn, that have oceans on them. Underneath of these thick crusts of ice, there's liquid oceans on these moons that are likely in contact with a rocky mantle. So they could have similarities to Earth's oceans, but they won't have sunlight because there's very, very thick crust of ice. So we wonder, are there hydrothermal vents
Right.
on those moons? And if there are hydrothermal vents, could there be life that could exist in those oceans? We know that it exists in our ocean. And we don't know the answer to that question yet. But we have a planetarium show that is exploring, what we know about these moons and asking some of those questions and helping our visitors think about it. It's at 3 o'clock every day. It's called Ocean Worlds, Exploring the Solar System. Those are live and interactive shows. And then you can come to any planetarium show with your museum admission. We have planetarium shows at 11:30, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and 3 o'clock every day. And then there's a 4 o'clock show on the weekends. Plus, we have special events. I know that, William, you've attended our Wine and Cheese Under the Stars before. So, and that is a program that's sponsored by Sun Collectors. And so you
And you can do
can.
yoga under the
You
stars,
can
all
do
kinds of
yoga
stuff.
under the stars. You can come to a laser light show. So yeah, there's always fun things happening in the planetarium, and we like it because we find that guests can get inspired in the planetarium to learn more about different avenues of science. Astronomy is a very approachable type of a science that many people find interesting, and it's kind of a gateway to learning about more things in the natural world, inspiring curiosity to keep on learning more.
Yeah, I think
Well,
that's
and thank you to Sun Collectors primarily for sponsoring those shows in the planetarium. Because of Sun Collectors and our other donors, all of those daily planetarium shows are included with your regular museum
Yep.
admission. So you don't need a
absolutely.
special ticket to go to the planetarium.
Yeah, we're happy to support. And I think the exploring thing is one of the most fascinating parts that you guys can do because, even when I was going through grade school, Mars was guaranteed not to have water on it. Every science teacher was
Mhm.
like, there's no way, no way, shape, or form
No.
there's water on Mars. And then we find all this new technology or new information through different studies. And
Mhm.
we have to constantly be exploring this because our realm of understanding changes. A lot of these things aren't scientific definites that we're making assumptions on. So the information changes from year to year.
And science is a process. It's not a body of knowledge, a set defined group of facts that are a constant group of facts, as you've said. And science is a process of discovery. So we are always learning more. Sometimes our understandings change because we have gained more information. And we humans have a sort of an innate need to explore and discover. And that's probably why we are so fascinated by exploring outer space or exploring the deep ocean or
Absolutely.
exploring places on earth that are less explored, like our rainforests, or we humans we always want to know what's around the bend,
Mhm.
what is still out
Yep.
there that we
Absolutely.
haven't seen yet.
Yeah, I think the museum's just for open-minded people,
Yeah.
and that desire for discovery and information because you walk around in decoys, right? You have a whole exhibition on decoys, and you would never think that, hey, I'm going to go to a museum and want to see something like that. But when you walk in that room and you read all the plaques and you figure out the history behind it, it's very fascinating. So
Yeah.
just coming into the museum with an open mind, or even a little bit of a closed mind, and having it open through this place of education is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So yeah, we love the Peoria Riverfront Museum here at the Sun Collectors, and our guys love that. We were here for the solar eclipse, or our guys were,
Yep.
Renee. We were
Yes.
out,
Yeah.
we are out in Dallas having a good time, and just museum brings a lot of love to the community. So we're very grateful for y'all.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
thank you for
yeah.
your support and your support of the Peoria community. It
Yes.
is really wonderful to see that you embrace your home in Peoria by
Absolutely.
supporting all the museum and other cultural groups in Peoria, or other groups that are working to make Peoria better. Because we all want Peoria to thrive.
Absolutely.
Yeah, take care of those that take care of you. It's a very old mantra, but it works.
Yes, it does.
You ladies have anything else before we cut it?
I don't think so.
No.
No.
Awesome. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to have y'all on today, and the podcast will be up next Wednesday. We'll send all the assets to the museum so you guys can use them on your YouTube. It's good to see that you guys have some drawings there as well.
Yeah.
So we'll
Great.
see y'all soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.